Good afternoon. We are so glad I gave you a little extra of that song today. That is certainly one of my all-time favorite songs because it speaks volumes to me and to those about my life story where I really look back and, spending time, quiet time, and talking to the Lord and thanking Him for looking back over my life and looking at the things that He has helped to get me to where I am today. God actually orders each one of our steps, particularly if we're asking Him, if we're cooperative, if we're willing to receive that. He does that for us. So, good afternoon, everyone. This is The Judge Speaks. Here, Hubert Grimes, retired circuit judge here in Volusia County. Glad to have another opportunity to be able to come to you, to talk to you about a variety of different things. And we got a very special guest that's going to be joining us a little later in the show today. She's actually going to be calling in, but you might see that seat over here is being empty at the moment. But when she shares the information that she's going to share today, I guarantee you're going to come out far better and far stronger than where you were before. It's just such a beautiful day, perfect weather here in Daytona Beach. As I was out early this morning trying to get my exercise in, I mean, it was like everything was in proper balance. I mean, the sun, a little bit of breeze, and of course it continues on at this time. So we are just glad that you can be a part of us to share with us here on The Judge Speaks. We always like to push the idea with our people that it's important for education. Education is certainly the key to being and staying free. And we always try to share with our listeners the importance of never going to bed as ignorant as you were when you got up this morning. Every day you should learn something new. It's important that we do so. And so just want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to share and to come in with us. If you're listening to us live today, we have a call-in number, which is 386-222-1581. That's a new number, so make sure you update it in your phones, 386-222-1581. And then, of course, if you're listening to us on the playback, which is available on Thursday afternoons during drive time, while we're not there live, we certainly hope that you will save your questions. You can always text us. You can always send us messages. Certainly you can do that through the current system we have set up here at the radio station. And of course, those of you that know where my office is, I'm always open to talk about situations and circumstances. Most of you know that while I may have retired from the bench, I didn't retire from life. I am practicing law with Chris Montz and the Montz Law Firm. It's called Montz Grimes here in Volusia County. Chris, of course, has been a practicing lawyer for some 20 years now, focused primarily in dealing with accident cases. And what I always like about Chris is Chris has a strong faith in God. And one of the things he said that from the very outset, he said that the Lord told him that he would have a successful business and he would never have to advertise. I find that amazing. In other words, he relies upon referrals. So people who have been satisfied or very happy with the work that he's done tell other people. And that's really the whole business about life itself. Businesses generally get the bigger part of their business from referrals, referrals, clients who are happy with the work that's been done. And so I want to, of course, always want to thank him for that. And of course, if you have an issue that you need us to take a look at, if it's in a dealing with car accidents, truck accidents, slip and falls, those kinds of things, certainly we're willing to be there to try to help give you some guidance, to help you wherever possible, even to represent you if need be. And of course, if you want to talk to me about some other issues, I'm available here in Volusia County. My location, I'm located at 927 Bevel Road in the Twin Fountains Plaza. That's the Montz Grimes office, and we're glad to be able to help you in a variety of areas. Some people say, well, what are you doing these days? Well, I'm staying busy, that's for sure. We've got, you're doing some estate planning, we're doing some probate work, we're doing some business development, we're doing things to help people. And of course, for some 15 years, I served as a family court judge here on Volusia County, and of course, we do that as we work it out. And so any of those things we certainly are helpful. And if we can't help you, we know how to refer you to somebody that can. So all of those things are just a part of what makes us who we are and helps us to come here on Joy 106.3 FM. So special shout out to Miss Pat Cadet. She is the brainchild behind this whole operation, and she's working the boards here today. So glad that she's here. She's the tech one for us to keep us all going. And I just want to thank God for her and for the work that she and Terrence have been doing to put this radio station on the map. Again, Joy 106.3 FM. It is indeed your place and space for both inspiration and information. And so my hat that I wear, of course, is to provide as much information as I can. And we're going to share that in just a few minutes with some of the things going on. But let's look back over the past week for a quick moment, talk about some of the things going on. You know, last week we were involved with the successful inauguration of the 8th president of Bethune-Cookman, none other than Dr. Albert Mosley. And the inauguration was, in fact, the same time last week. It was a culmination of a number of activities that they had hosted throughout the weekend, starting with church service at Hope Fellowship with Bishop Triplett, where they made a significant donation to the university. It was really a very powerful service, and that was great. That was the lead off. Then, of course, that afternoon with the it's a spring concert with the symphonic band and for under the leadership of Dr. Wells, and of course the concert chorale under my frat brother's leadership that did a phenomenal job. And so we are just always grateful to know the work that Dr. Carlvin Richards is doing in that area, and so many talented young people that are with us on that service. And of course then on Monday it was a day of service, so some roughly 2,000 students as well as staff and faculty members had spread out throughout this community as led by the president, doing a variety of different things to show that Bethune-Cookman is certainly very involved with community service. They want to be able to help. And so a lot of people was their first time interacting with some of the students. And Dr. Mosley, of course, was not just out there standing around. He was actively involved with a variety of different things, whether it was at Food Brings Hope, whether it was at Mainland High School, whether it was at the VA. I think at the VA, he actually called the bingo numbers out during their recreation time. And then, of course, after, as if that wasn't enough to do the whole day, they ended up with the gala, the presidential gala that was held at the Hilton that night. And it was, they actually sold out the place. Over 900 plus people bought tickets for this affair, and it was wall-to-wall people. But I tell you what, not only was it great in terms of the food was excellent, the people were great. We had a chance to see people we hadn't seen in a long time. But to top it off, they brought in doctor, I would call her doctor because she's received some honorary doctorates herself, but none other than Miss Yolanda Adams, who herself is an HBCU grad out of Texas Southern. And man, she was phenomenal. I think she sang about 10, probably close to 10 songs in culminating that event, but it was amazing. And of course, on Tuesday, a week ago today, they had the actual swearing in service of Dr. Mosley, led by the Board of Trustees under the guidance of Mr. Joyous Pete Gamble, my good friend and fellow fraternity brother. It was an amazing event all the way around. And it's interesting because we had the president of FAMU here, Dr. Marva Johnson, and I got a chance to personally meet her and have some conversation. You know, we both are lawyers, and we talked about how the law degree can be a very excellent degree for a variety of different areas. It's versatile and helps you to be able to do a variety of things. So interestingly enough, a week later, here Dr. Johnson is now being sworn at this very moment at FAMU as the president of FAMU, and her services are actually going on now. And I know Dr. Mosley is there participating in those services along with presidents from all around the Southeast that are there to cheer her on in the role as president. Not an easy job by anyone, by any stretch of the imagination. If you're going to be good at it, it's not easy, but you know what? If it was easy, then anybody could do it. But God put the people in place to be able to carry out those duties and responsibilities. And I salute not only Dr. Marva Johnson for the work she's doing at FAMU. She got off to a rocky start, but I trust and pray that she will continue to build strength, strength and resilience, and do the things needed to help boost our sister institution. You know, FAMU and Bethune have so much in common. You know, we talk about the fact that we're rivals on the athletic fields when it comes down to the Florida Classic. We're rivals when it comes down to playing basketball and baseball. So only on the athletic fronts. But otherwise, our schools have been partners. And go back in time to the work of Dr. Bethune along with President J.R.E. Lee of FAMU. And in fact, during the time of the Great Depression, J.R.E. Lee, Dr. J.R.E. Lee, sent truckloads of fruits and vegetables down to Bethune-Cookman to help Dr. Bethune's maintain the school. And there's a lot of, it's actually spelled out in the book on the life story of Dr. Bethune by Rackham Hope. I've got a caller. I'm going to ask caller. Hold on for just 1 second, caller. Don't go anywhere. We're going to get set up for you. I think it's my special guest coming in, and I'm so excited that she's going to be here. But I want to also point out a couple things. Some of you that are on Facebook, you see this glow, you see this, what looks like orange juice from here, but it's not orange juice. It's actually turmeric with ginger that I'm drinking to help maintain my health. You know, we all have to be concerned about our health, and it's actually fresh, made by my good friend, Brother Rod, who has a Fusion Bistro, a Jamaican restaurant located adjacent to the plaza where my office is. So I get a chance to sample his work. So those of you that are great, I would call it a great Jamaican restaurant, small in size, but in terms of what they do, fresh turmeric, fresh, sorrel, fresh beet juice, all of those things that are available. So stay healthy, my friends, and let's make sure that we continue to support the people who support us. And we're going to come back and talk about a couple other things here as far as upcoming events. But we're going to don our headphones and get ready to talk with someone that's very, very special to me, who I think after the end of this call today, you will see why. And so let me just welcome our caller, none other than Dr. Courtney St. James. Welcome to the call, Dr. St. James.
Hi, good morning.
Hey, great to have you. Thank you for being a part of our show. There are a lot of our listening audiences that have not had the pleasure of getting to know Dr. Courtney Thomas St. James. She is oh my gosh, I could put a ton of different labels on her. She's vivacious, she's smart, she's beautiful, she's just all around. I mean, and I love her resilience. And she's going to tell us a little bit about her story as we also talk about things that can be helpful to us. And of course, my lead-in was talking about, you know, the importance of drinking the right things, tasting and eating the right things. So many of us have to make adjustments to our diets, and she can help us in a variety of different ways. So welcome to the Judge Speaks, Dr. Courtney St. James. Glad to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Judge Grimes. It's so good to be on this show today. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, you are doing something different, but I want to kind of lay the groundwork. So for those that, let's see, we're going to try to make sure we are talking to the microphone. You know, I'm guilty of kind of leaning to this way and sometimes leaning to the other way. You can't see me in our, for those on Facebook, you certainly can. And of course, I want you all to follow her. She's going to give you some information on how you can do that. So make sure you got your pen and pad ready because she's going to give us a lot of great information in the whole field of healthcare, how to stay healthy. And that's been a big part of your push. Is that right?
That's right. That's been a really big part of the push in medicine these days. I'm Dr. Courtney St. James. I have an office down in downtown Sanford. From South Carolina. I grew up there, went to an HBCU, went to Claflin University in Orangeburg, South Carolina before I then went off to medical school at the American University of Antigua in Antigua and Barbuda in the Caribbean, which is what started my journey into medicine, which has been awesome.
That's great. That's great. And of course, you mentioned that you, I know in the process, of course, shout out to Dr. Dewan Womack. I got a chance to see him last week. You're the president of Claflin now. He was not there at the
That's
time you
right.
were, but he was here in town because, of course, this we always tell him, say, you may be at Claflin, my friend, but this is Daytona still remains home, and we're so glad for what he's doing and the work he's doing there with Claflin. In fact, Claflin has so many outstanding um, attributes. In fact, they are considered, as a result of a study done by United Negro College Fund, Claflin actually has the highest alumni giving rate of any HBCU. One more little feather in the cap for Claflin. But let's talk about you.
That's right. That's right.
You grew up. You said you grew up in South Carolina, and so what promoted the idea of you wanting to become a medical doctor?
Well, growing up in Carolina, we grew up in a small town, and my grandmother had some health challenges that we just didn't fully understand as a family, and she died at a very early age of 56 years old, and I was, right into college whenever that did happen, and it just kind of changed me, and I wanted to learn a lot more about, different processes or, health issues and how to teach other people about them essentially because we weren't ready whenever my grandmother passed away. So that is essentially what led me into medicine.
Okay, and not only did it lead you, but now you did some unique things. I mean, you mentioned the fact that, of course, you went undergrad at Claflin, but you also mentioned in your opening comments that you actually did some of your studies were done in the Caribbean, some of your medical studies. Talk about
That's
that for a minute.
that's that's right. When I actually applied into the U.S., I didn't get in after my first year, and I didn't want to keep waiting. So I decided to apply to the American University of Antigua, and I received a scholarship there to attend that school. So after taking a 1 year break, I went off to med school, spent 2 years in the Caribbean island before I came back to do my clinicals for my last 2 years of medical school here in the United States. And I did it in various places such as Miami, New York, Atlanta was my final place that I completed my studies. But it was an amazing experience.
And so Daytona Beach was very lucky as well as blessed to be able to get you to be a part of this Volusia County community.
That's right. That's right. Ended up moving down here with my current husband and his family, and they are over there in Daytona Beach, and I was able to kind of branch out on my own over here in the Sanford area, which has been amazing.
Well, and of course, for those of you that might be trying to make that connection to the last name St. James, she is a part of the St. James family. She's married to my nephew, Tanner St. James. Most of you didn't know Tanner. Of course, grew up here. It's a part of the St. James family of doctors. And so she is that next generation carrying forward that whole notion of medical help, helping people. Dr. Carroll, Dr. Luther, St. James, those are all part, we call them our extended family. And so Courtney, of course, if she slips and says Uncle Hubert, it's because that's the name she's known me as most of her adult life. So, but but you
That's right. It's a different change here because I'm like Mr. Grimes, Judge Grimes, Uncle Hubert.
well, if you say Uncle Hubert, they know who you're talking to. But you started your medical career then with Advent, and of course then moving on to where you are now. I mean, how many years were you down in? I believe it's not in Deland. I want to say it was Orange City or DeBerry.
Yep, Orange City, Deltona. I was there for 7 years before I just recently branched out on my own and
Okay.
opened my own practice called Thrive Health Direct Primary Care located in downtown Sanford. I just did that at the beginning of this year.
And that's what's so great because you're stepping out on faith, doing what you enjoy doing, and talk to us about what is concierge medicine, and is would that be the proper label for the type of practice that you have now?
I certainly think in layman's terms it's more of a concierge style medicine, and our branch is called direct primary care.
Okay.
It's a healthcare model where patients and doctors have a better relationship, I would say. It's a closer relationship with great accessibility directly to the doctor. It's a flat, affordable monthly fee for unlimited access to the primary care physician and still getting such good primary care services, if not better, I would say. It really cuts out the middleman. It's not insurance, but it is direct accessibility. A lot of times, different things that we might hear about, in different healthcare systems is I can't reach my doctor, or I call and I don't hear anything back. And we try to mitigate those things with direct primary care. You call the office, you get directly in with your doctor.
Hmm.
We give you same day, next day appointments. We give you longer appointments. So sometimes you can get an hour appointment. There are no more rushed appointments, and different health systems you might find that they're quick appointments, 7-minute appointments, 10-minute appointments, 15-minute appointments. But now we have an opportunity to have longer appointments.
Okay.
And the other part is there's no surprise bills.
Okay.
After you leave, your monthly fee is your monthly fee. You will not get another bill in the mail
Okay.
afterwards.
That's great. That's great. And I'm sure people that are listening to the radio or watching you on us here on Facebook are probably saying, "What? You mean we don't have to pay
Hmm.
more after we leave? You don't get those bills in the mail?" Um, now you have.
No, no more bills in the mail. Hmm.
Is there now you were, I guess, could be categorized as a family physician because you did a variety of different things in trying to treat the whole person. But talk to us about. But I've also read some of your inspirational, educational pieces on Facebook that you do where you're trying to help educate us on the prevention side, the things that we should be doing to help take care of our bodies to really reduce the likelihood of having to go to the emergency room, having to go into hospital, advanced medical treatment. So, talk for a minute about some of the key things that you think as we as black people, as people of color, what are some of the things that we seem to have difficulties dealing with, and what kind of suggestions would you make to us, to my listening audience here?
Absolutely. I'm really, really big on education and, planting that seed, or a good seed where someone is able to take the knowledge that I've planted and say, you know what, I can make a good informed decision based off of these things. What I find in our culture is that essentially we don't like going to the doctor in fear of hearing what the doctor has to say or what they may find. And I try to, put informational things out there so that people can see, okay, you know what, it's not so scary. Dr. St. James is a really down to earth doctor, got good bedside manner, because those are things that people look for when they're looking for a doctor. Is, will I make a good personal connection with her? Do I feel comfortable with her? Will I be, comfortable enough to tell her some of, the deep things or things that they have fears about? And I like to educate those things. And especially in our community, we have a lot of heart disease. We have a lot of high blood pressure, a lot of, diabetes, and a lot of these things are undiagnosed because we don't like to go to the doctor. So if I can, reel even one person in to say, let's have a conversation about what your concerns are, what your fears are, I think we can, move forward with screening for a lot of those things. As I said, my grandmother died very young. And, my thoughts are if we were able to mitigate some of those things early on in her disease process, maybe she would have had a little bit longer life. So
Yeah,
I'm really
absolutely.
good with talking about, what are your goals, what are the foods that you eat, and how to make some modifiable changes around those things.
Okay. Yeah, food is one of the things that can either help us or hurt us. And I noticed on one of your recent posts that you were talking about suggestions, giving suggestions on food, foods to consider in order to help address some of these same issues that you just talked about: heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes. Are there any particular kinds of things that we need to stay away from that may be poisonous to our bodies, but yet we've
Absolutely.
okay. Well, let me
Absolutely.
let you talk about it.
Absolutely. I'm really big with fried food, fatty food, fast foods. If we can make those modifiable things, we can change so much. I enjoy cooking at home instead of eating out more so because there are so many different things that are packed in the foods and whenever we're eating out that can cause a lot of inflammation. And sometimes the goal is to reduce some of the inflammation, certainly in the foods, and we overall will feel, I would say, better. People's joints will feel better, their guts will feel better, overall health may be better, just reducing some inflammatory things in our foods. I heard you speaking about drinking turmeric earlier, and that is a good, really, really, really good anti-inflammatory. So I definitely do encourage that. But if we can start by small, making little changes with even just cooking at home, not buying so much processed things, and getting in that kitchen, I think that'll be the turnaround for a lot of us.
You know, when you mention processed foods, some people don't quite understand what are processed foods. Could you define that for us?
Absolutely. Processed foods, in a good way to put it, is prepackaged foods. Even when we go out to some of these restaurants, if they're not making it fresh, a lot of times it's going to have preservatives or things to try to keep it fresh for an extended amount of time, uh, to keep into these restaurants. So those things in itself can have a lot of salt in those foods to preserve those foods. With that salt, we can see high blood pressure. That's always number one. If we're cooking at home fresh, you buy a pack of chicken or a pack of chicken thighs and you can season it with some Mrs. Dash, not too much salt, that's going to be the best route for you to go so we don't have so much preservatives in the foods and causing a lot of inflammation or a lot of gut issues, joint issues, high blood pressure, or even diabetes.
You know, when you said that, you just made my your Aunt Daisy's face just appeared in front of me just thinking about her, and I know she wouldn't mind me sharing this because it could help some other people. But recently, she had a serious health scare back in early February, and she in going to the hospital and basically getting a complete workup. It changed a lot of what her food intake now, and I do hope she's listening into the show so she's not that she is following what she's supposed to be doing. But one of the things that your your mother-in-law, Dr. Carroll, has put her on is to basically a reduced salt intake diet. And because she's on a reduced salt intake diet, guess who else is on a reduced salt intake diet? I am.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we have actually noticed it's amazing because since she has been, basically tries to get as minimal salt wherever possible, is you're not going to eliminate it all, but if you can reduce it and be conscious of it. But she actually, and she wouldn't mind me saying this, she actually lost almost 30 pounds during the course of that whole medical situation, the couple coming out of it. And she has not, she stays focused on making sure she does not gain 1 pound, 1 pound back. So she's staying in a particular, I would say, a range of no more than 1 to 2 pounds difference from where she was when she was when she came out of the hospital. And I can tell it's giving her much more energy, and she's able to move about better than what she was before. And you mentioned about the inflammation. I've noticed that as the fact that we are much more conscious of those things. For example, you mentioned Mrs. Dash. You use a lot of Mrs. Dash, but we also found out that there's a sister by the name of Tabitha Brown that has a lot of various kinds of seasonings. So now she's ordered, and we have she's cleaned out our cabinets, got rid of a lot of the quote unquote salt environments, or if we are using salt, we're using the pink Himalayan salt, and we're using that in very small amounts. But that has helped us a lot, and for as reducing the inflammation and helping to help us to get a new lease on life.
That's amazing. That's really, really good. We used to have this cardiologist that would say if it tastes good, spit it out because it's going to
Whoa.
cause a lot of water retention. And you mentioned that she lost about 30 pounds, and I commend her because sometimes it's hard for people to, maintain that after they've, had a medical scare like that. But it is so important to be conscious of the salt intake and those processed foods. If you look at some of those packaging, the sodium content is so high. It's you would be amazed to see how high it can be. But I definitely commend Aunt Daisy for turning it around and doing a lot better than what she was.
Now, what about you mentioned the fast food side of that question too. So what about you know Mickey D's, McDonald's, and all the other fast food places that we have grown so accustomed to in our culture? Are we able to
Yeah,
control?
you know,
Control is it? Do we find that to be a place where we can get a lot of salt, get a lot of, and therefore get a lot of inflammation?
we sure would, because it's still a lot of preservatives in those foods as well. That's just, packaged foods right on that grill, right to the bun, right to your mouth, so to speak. And those fries are going to be loaded with salt
Mm.
all every time. I mean, even, every now and then, I'm still too going to go and get me some fries from McDonald's, but I have to choose not to do that as often as I would like because I know it can cause, a number of other things. So if I have to decide, okay, if I'm going to eat McDonald's for today, maybe I'll choose a salad instead of choosing a burger because a lot of that greasy food too is going to increase the cholesterol. Increasing cholesterol too can clog the arteries and cause more heart disease too. So I'm just very, conscious, and I do what I can. As I still too tell my patients, if you have to go there, just do what you can, but don't do it that often.
Mm. Yeah, I mean there are some places that I'm sure there's some people out there that like McDonald's fries, and some other people out there that probably like what's the other one out there that has the waffle fries that I've in
Oh, Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. They got waffle fries, and but all of those things are important. And of course, we're also people who love a good fried fish and barbecue
Mhm.
ribs and all those things that have been a part of
Mhm.
our culture. But you got to do it in moderation. That's challenging.
That's exactly right. That's right. Moderation is key. I mean, we can't do it all the time, a holiday here or a holiday there, I think that that's certainly okay. But to eat like that absolutely every day, we're going to have some health issues in our near future.
Do you find that there are actually that more and more people are actually listening and making changes to their health, through the educational process that you and many other doctors are providing to us today?
I believe that people are trying to make a lot of changes, especially with these weight loss drugs. They have been a key piece to helping mitigate a lot of these health issues, even, diabetes or high blood pressure, because we see reverse in those disease processes, even with weight loss by itself. So people are becoming a lot more health conscious for themselves and for the betterment of their own health.
Wow. And then that gives an example for our kids and for the next generation to be able to hopefully do better than those of us in this generation.
That's right. That's right. And that's I was speaking about that this morning. I said the generation after us or my next generation, I hope that they're smarter than us because it should be, from generation to the next, but
Hmm.
to certainly continue that.
Well, talk of what are some of the things we can do as relates to you talked about the heart issues, and you talked about hypertension there. What about, are there any things that, because people when in my growing up days, they used to refer to diabetes as sugar diabetes. That was a phrase that was often used growing up. But are there some suggestions that may help preempt some of that problem with that? Is some things that people can do to try to avoid sugar diabetes, as we call it?
Right. And yep, I grew up using that same term of sugar diabetes. You know, I am a really big encourager of walking or exercising and starting small because if we cut everything all at once, it's going to make our bodies crave it even more.
Mm.
So I always say we start small. If we've got a family history of diabetes, I certainly say being more conscious of things such as rice, bread, pasta, potatoes. I always like to keep it simple. Being cognizant of how much you're consuming and maybe instead of rice, look into, white rice, looking into brown rice or quinoa or something like that, or, um, higher fiber always, beans, lentils, that will help to kind of balance that sugar as well, still make you feel full. and maybe you won't crave it as much. It's certainly if your body get used to that over time, because it's not going to happen overnight. We don't make those changes overnight. But if we start to practice it, at least starting with 2 days a week, I think that's the way to help combat it, because then in the next couple of weeks to a month, we can move it up to 3 days a week.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to, I know we got coming up on, I believe, on commercials here in just a moment. So but before we do that, I want to make sure we get your contact information, because I can already, if I could look out there in radio land, I could see people right now saying, well, how do I get in contact with her? How do I get in contact with her? I want to know, I want to know that information. So give us your contact information. And I know you're on a number of social media platforms as well. So make sure that we can do that. I've asked my people to make sure they got their pen and pad ready to go. So talk to us about how they can get in touch with you.
You can reach me on Facebook with Dr. Courtney St. James, Courtney STJAMES. Also on Instagram, same way, Dr. Courtney St. James. And the office information is Thrive Health. That's THRYV Health DPC, both on Instagram and on Facebook. Office number 407-708-9647. Those are ways to reach me.
All right. And I do know some people that have asked me, how do I get in contact with Dr. Courtney? I say, well, let me see if I can help you with that. So we are doing that, and so we're grateful. So can you hang around for a moment?
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to take a short pause here for commercials and information that needs to be shared. And so we're going to come right back here in just a few moments, and she'll have some more awesome information that she can share with us that's going to help improve our health. Stay tuned.
WAIGLP, Daytona Beach, Joy 106.3.
Tune in to Daytona Beach Radio with your host, Donna Gray Banks. This is the city's most exciting news and information program. Here on Joy 106.3 FM, every Wednesday beginning at 12 noon. Don't miss it.
Prima Broadcasting, Inc. is a registered 501c3 nonprofit. This means your donations are 100% tax deductible. The support from listeners just like you is what keep this station on the air. Feel free to visit our website, joy1063fm.com, to donate, or call 386-256-4706 for more ways to give. Thank you for your continued support.
Where do students and the locals go when it's time to refresh their look? Styles 101 Beauty Salon and Barbershop is the place. Conveniently located near Bethune-Cookman University on the corner of ISB and Lincoln Street. Styles 101 specialize in clean cuts, fresh fades, and more for the whole family. And beauty services for the whole family. Walk-ins or appointment welcome. 705 West International Speedway Boulevard is the address. 386-265-5257 is their number. Styles 101 Beauty Salon and Barbershop.
Now hiring barbers and stylists.
At PC 101 and Tax Right Services, we're here to handle your taxes with expertise. Whether it's this year's taxes or catching up on past years, we've got you covered. Schedule your one-on-one appointment today. Reach us at 386-363-5324. That is 386-363-5324. PC 101 and Tax Right Services, where taxes are done right. With convenient locations in Daytona and Ormond Beach, we make tax time stress-free and simple.
Christians Merging Together Ministry presents the second annual Women of God in Unity Working Together Conference. Women who are not afraid because they know God will calm down the storm no matter what the situation is. It takes place June 20th, 2026 from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. at the Deltona High School located at 100 Wolf Pack Run, Deltona, Florida. Guest speakers include Pastor Tiffany Ware, Minister Paulette Singleton, and Dr. Pam Powell. For more information, call 386-220-5395. That's 386-220-5395. Women of God, IUWT.com. You are cordially invited.
Special thanks and support to WAIG comes from R.J. Gaines Funeral Home, where Alexander C. Wynn III, licensed funeral director and owner. R.J. Gaines Funeral Home provides full burial services, entombment, cremation, transporting services, pre-planning arrangements, and consultations. R.J. Gaines Funeral Home is located at 804 Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard. R.J. Gaines Funeral Home, 386-253-7686.
Okay, and we're back, and we're so grateful that you all are still with us here. Boy, the time passes quickly when you're having fun. So I've been interviewing Dr. Courtney St. James, who's just giving us some good tips, that things that we can do to try to help improve our health. And as we get ready to that, I want to mention two things that are coming up. We got a seafood festival coming up this weekend. I know we just got through talking about food, but that's it, right? There are choices that you can make. You don't have to, have everything, but you can certainly make choices. Seafood festival is coming up this weekend there on Bethune Boulevard, and so great event. Please come out, support the work. This was started a few years ago by Miss Brittany Israel. She is, of course, a phenomenal young lady. Actually, I just saw on Facebook she just got inducted into Jack and Jill. So congratulations, Brittany. And by the way, she provided all the decorations for the presidential gala last week. And as with those of you that know Brittany and know her work, know her signature, she is a phenomenal sister. And so congratulations on all the work she's doing. But come out and support the Seafood Festival this coming weekend. There's also a housing workshop being brought to you by Miss Lucy Desmore and the work that she's doing. It's going to be held at Allen Chapel on Saturday morning. So it's going to be a busy weekend for a lot of activities. So continue to do that. But let's shift back for a moment also. Oh, by the way, congratulations to Judge Joan Anthony and to Judge Alicia Washington. Both have qualified for a second term there as circuit judges. That this is the week of qualifying. That's going to continue on till the end of the week, and we don't anticipate that they're going to have any problem, that they're not going to draw any opposition, because it's a powerful job, a tough job, and if somebody hadn't made any plans, they'd be wasting their money to try to go out against those two sisters. So again, congratulations on their qualifying for re-election to a second term for the two of them. Boy, those 6 years went by real quick. And but we're happy for the work that they're doing, and they are phenomenal influences here in the communities in which they serve. So, Dr. Courtney, you still with us?
Yes, sir. I'm still here.
Okay, I think my thing went down a little bit there. Let me see if I can bring it back up. Okay, all right. Are there as we time has come so quickly, but what are some of the other things that are there any other things that you're offering and services that you might want to share with the public that will get their attention and say, well, look, I might not need her for this, but I might need her for that?
Absolutely. So at my Thrive Health Direct Primary Care, we do also offer services for weight management, offer services for hormone replacement therapy, IV hydration therapy, integrative medicine, educational pieces, lots of different things that we have in store and able to offer to our patients.
Okay, so then they have the benefit of someone who has had a family practice for some 7 years with the Big Advent Corporation, but you also your own, of course, doctor. A number of people who will be listening to this and saying, oh yeah, that's my doctor. She was my doctor all along. And so now you're expanding your base because now you are there just across the bridge in Sanford, as we would say, just across the St. Johns River, and that allows you to be able to enjoy a greater degree of freedom on the one hand, but allows you to reach a broader audience on the other.
That's right. And I like I said, I'm really big on education and letting people know these are different disease processes and how we can mitigate these different disease processes, providing education to not only to adults but also to children as well, because everybody needs it. Everybody needs to know the ins and outs of medicine and how we can make ourselves a little bit better a day at a time.
All right. And of course, again, because of some of the unique things that our people have along this journey, you've been able to touch the lives of so many across the board. And so I just want to take a moment to tell you thank you for all the work that you're doing, and you've got a bright future ahead. Do you see other younger, I would call them young doctors, that are similarly situated, doing similar kinds of practices as you are?
Yeah, there seems to be more of a growing trend, because people are looking to provide good health care the way that it should be. And yes, we come out of school with different goals and ambitions in mind, but nowadays we're seeing younger and younger generation going back to more of a traditional based medicine, and I'm really excited to see that in our future.
Wow. So now, do you mean we may have some doctors that make house calls with the little black bag in their hand?
Absolutely. Absolutely. With the concierge style medicine these days, we're going to see more and more people make more house calls. You don't have to, think about having thousands of patients, but something that works for that doctor where they have more time to spend with their patients. So we will certainly see more doctors making more house calls again.
Now, I just also have to, I guess, kind of throw you under the bus a little bit, but really not, because one of the things you mentioned was that it gives you certain freedoms and flexibilities in helping to raise your family. And of course, you've got two younger ones. I've actually seen some of your clips where you were racing with Cam, so you still got it. Cam is what now? Is he 13 or 14?
Cam is 14 now,
wow.
and Cam, I would say now he has surpassed me. I used to run track back in the day, but now that boy is taking over.
Well, that's all right. You've now got the time to be able to still train him and to still work with him, and of course, you've got a little princess that's also coming right behind him too.
Yes, my little princess. I'm so happy to make this transition because I have more time to spend with the family overall, and they love it. They absolutely love it.
That's good. That's good. Well, we are so glad that you could take the time out of your schedule and just share some insights. But once again, I want to ask you if you would give us your contact information for those that are out there that might not have gotten it the first time, and they'll be able to make sure that they can call on Dr. Courtney St. James.
Absolutely. You can reach me on Facebook at Dr. Courtney St. James, also on Instagram at Dr. Courtney St. James, or also at both on Instagram and Facebook at Thrive Health, THRYV Health DPC.
All right. Very good. Very good. Well, folks, let me just ask you, any final words that you'd like to share?
Take it a day at a time. I encourage you to get out there, exercise, eat the best that you can, and start with good home-cooked meals.
All right. All right. So, Daisy, did you hear that? She said good home-cooked meals now. So I'll be expecting my good home-cooked meal at the end of the day. So I'm going to hear about that, right? So
You are.
But that's all right.
We love you, Aunt Daisy.
All right. Well, again, folks, thank you. And Courtney, thank you so much again for taking time out of your schedule to be here with us today. This, of course, is going to be shared. And for those of you that are listening to us via Facebook, make sure you share this information with those in your particular media outlets so that others may see that there are ways of helping yourself, helping your own health. And that's really what we need to be focused on, because if we help ourselves, we can certainly, as she has already told you, we can live a happier life, a healthier life, a longer life. And therefore, we become examples for the young people who will be following behind us by how we conduct ourselves. So, again, thank you, Dr. Courtney St. James, for being with us today. And look forward to coming over and visiting the office here real soon, okay?
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me on the show today.
All right. Big hug out to all the kids, and give Tanner some dap for me. And we'll look forward to talking with you guys soon. All right.
Sure will. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, folks. With those, there you have it. Here on The Judge Speaks. We hope that something that we have shared here today has blessed your heart. That is, as we always say, that Joy 106.3 FM is all about inspiration. You got that from the music that we started with at the beginning, and of course the information that we hope that we have shared with you throughout the course of the past hour. So hopefully make some changes in your life. That's what I'm working on. That's what my wife is working on. We're all working on trying to do better, because we don't want to miss out on the opportunities that God has for us. But we've got responsibilities and duties to be able to make sure that we are doing the best that we can with what we got. So until next week, we look forward to being back with you again here on The Judge Speaks.